Group 9, Initiates, Part 2, Expanding Our Consciousness from Human to Soul to Spirit. Video by Dr. Lisa Love. Quick review. Group 9 is part of 10 evolutionary groups. In Part 1, we gave an overview of these groups and a beginning orientation to the different stages of being in Group 9. Part 1 in this series also reviewed some of the main themes or tasks those in Group 9 must cover. This video continues an understanding of those themes, which briefly again are cultivating a scientific mind, engaging in synthesis, the ability to bring many different ideas from many different streams of thought together, knowing the plan and formulas for this Earth's evolution, being soul-infused, including the many soul-infused values such as compassion, wisdom, love, and so forth, mastering the lower samadhis and meditation practices, especially Raja Yoga, perfecting soul magic, engaging in a higher form of mysticism that includes the capacity to bring love into the mind, working with many different groups, not only being the leader of a group, but being able to bring many different groups together, influencing thinkers throughout the world, both in esoteric and especially non-esoteric circles, and leading a life of sacrifice. So in Part 1, we looked at the scientific mind. Let's now look at what it means to engage in synthesis. Synthesis is the capacity to understand and take ideas from many different areas of thought to form a unified theory or system that ties these ideas together. Now, Group 9 initiates are busy creating these systems of unified thought. To do that, they need to be well-versed in many different fields of knowledge. That requires extensive mental and scholastic training. Many Bailey students might be surprised by that requirement to become an initiate of the 3rd and 4th degrees. Yet prior to becoming an initiate, in the book Letters on Occult Meditation, we are told that someone on the 4th subplane of the mental plane, as a Group 8 accepted disciple who has become an integrated personality, is already, quote, physically perfect, emotionally vibrant, and mentally colossal. That's on page 11. If that is what a 2nd degree initiate looks like, we get a clue about how difficult being a Group 9 initiate must be. The role of science and history. Part of becoming mentally colossal is described in the book Letters on Occult Meditation, where we are told that students must gain, in the preparatory classes for initiation, a basic understanding of these science-based classes: anatomy, physiology, biology, ethnology, geology, botany, astronomy, and the development of science. See pages 328 to 329. And in Rule 15 of A Treatise on White Magic, we are told that those in Group 9 who exist on the plane of the solar angel need an extensive educational background to understand the plan. That requires students to take the trouble to consider the panorama of history, especially regarding how powerful personalities who cast their spell over their time and age can cause isolation and separateness as they govern human affairs. See page 620 for where these quotes were pulled from. That warning about how autocracies and totalitarian governments come into power is given in part because we are told Group 6 materialists, or coordinated personalities as they are called in Esoteric Psychology Volume 2, are coming into power now in human history as humanity shifts onto the mental plane, increasing at first the sense of mental superiority and separation from others by those who are Group 6 materialist. Common sense. The sense of synthesis is also emphasized when we are told that 3rd degree initiates who are part of Group 9 act out of, quote, common sense because it, or these initiates, receives all these impacts of varying energies, synthesizes them, produces order out of the many ceaseless impacts, and interprets them. Rays and Initiations, page 592. And we are told that those in group 9, like others on the mental plane, were primarily groups 7 and 8, though you may find group 6 somewhat there as well, have, quote, an ability to function with clarity upon the mental plane, to collate information, rightly to interpret and relate that information, and to create the needed thought forms or concepts for those interpretations. These thought forms fall into three major fields of thought. Science, which includes, it says, education, I would assume that's along scientific lines, and also the field of medicine. Philosophy, which includes ideas and ideals of how to live. And psychology, which at the time this was written 100 years ago, it said was in the process of developing. It's developed a lot since that time. And these quotes come from Rays and Initiations, page 594 and 601. Next we have Knows the Plan and Formulas. Synthetic understanding. Why such an emphasis on knowledge? Because those in Group 9 seek to understand the divine plan, which requires a synthetic and comprehensive understanding of many different areas of knowledge to get a wider planetary and even cosmic view. This is not about getting specialized knowledge in just one field. Though that may be valuable, it becomes problematic when we end up living in a mental bubble, reactive, defensive, and critical of others when that bubble of knowledge is confronted. Rather, because of their vast understanding, those in Group 9 tend to have more humility. They also possess more love in the mind, helping them appreciate the minds of others while providing them with more wisdom and compassion as they share their insights. All of this allows them to detach and be far less or even non-reactive when their understanding and insights are challenged. Now, to know the divine plan and to discover the formulas, the mind needs to be more receptive to spirit. To be receptive to the divine plan, we are told a Group 9 initiate has a mind that works, quote, in a new manner. It has transmuted the physical, transformed the emotional, and lifted it up into the lower mental plane, and is now working at transfiguring the mental into the spiritual triad, working through higher abstract mind. See Rays and Initiations, page 598. That means their minds are now guided by group purpose and the plan, full of pure reason, giving them total freedom from glamours, receptive to the Atmic plane that allows them to implement the will of God. See Rays and Initiations, page 599 for this quote. Shift into abstract mind. As those in Group 9 shift from a 3rd to 4th degree initiate, they also cultivate more of what the Bailey model refers to as the abstract mind. But it should be emphasized that as one reaches the top subplane of the plane of the solar angel, the higher abstract mind is not so much about being able to just think abstractly. After all, modern psychology, like the work done by Piaget, has proven most 15-year-olds have abstract mind capacity, allowing them to do things like imagining what it would be like to live on Mars. This imaginary abstract mind ability is actually something that exists more on the emotional plane, such as when people look at vague colors or patterns and make intuitive or hypothetical statements about what these abstractions may be about. This kind of abstract mind involves no real comprehension, only guesses. When we get to the plane of the solar angel on the mental plane and encounter abstract mind there, Abstract mind refers to a few things most people don't think about. Comprehending the plan and formulas. 1. Abstract mind represents the ability to abstract the essence out of something and distill a great deal of knowledge down to its basic formula. Note, a treatise in white magic emphasizes this distinction. Again, we have a reference to synthesis. The famous formula E equals mc squared is an example of this mental plane higher abstract mind capacity. Formulas like these are not vague. They reflect a precise understanding of the nature of reality, and because they exist on the mental plane, ruled by the fifth ray of science, anyone who is capable can take up these formulas and undergo the experiment of proving for themselves that these formulas are correct. 2. Abstract mind is also used to abstract or withdraw the soul out of existence so that the soul or angel can more directly impact the personality. Those in Group 9 are in the process of destroying or dissolving the causal body or soul because the soul is no longer needed as an intermediary to contact the triad of Atma Buddhi Manas or Sat Chit Ananda. Soul infused. Mind infused with soul. Based on what we have covered so far, it might seem that those in Group 9 are merely intellectual people living in their heads. That statement is more likely to be true of those in Groups 6 or 7, who have become overly satisfied with knowledge and often fail to apply it. And to some degree, it is still true with those in Group 8. By the time we reach Group 9, a shift has happened. The intellect has been infused with love and soul qualities such as compassion, courage, wisdom, and empathy, to name a few, that also exist. Those in Group 9 are not vague idealists who claim to love humanity but are essentially clueless about how to do so. Their understanding of the human condition is not vague, speculative, or mystical. The capacity to serve is much more refined, which is a point we will better understand if we take a little time to examine the Chela stages that those in Group 9 must go through. So these different Chela stages were first given in the Group 9 Initiates Part 1 video, but now we're going to go into more detail on them, starting with the Chela on the thread that covers the stages of pledged discipleship and the probationary initiate. And if you have been following my interpretation of the Bailey teachings and the numerous videos I've done, you know that for 10 years I've been trying to get all of the terms used in the books together, compile them, and correlate them according to different levels. And at the time this video was done, this is the most recent chart I was using. So note that date, because if you see a chart with a later date, you know that I have found some mistakes that I needed to correct. And I've done that for 10 years. Keep revising, updating, and correcting this chart. I think it's just about accurate at this time. If you really want an explanation, there is an entire video about the chart that was done at this date. So now we're going to look at what is a Chela on the thread. And we're going to start with this quote. The Chela on the thread develops higher sensitivity to the realm of higher ideals, ideas, and impressions, has demonstrated the ability to work with selflessness and pertinacity. And I had to look up what that word means. It basically means tenacity or a refusal to give in or give up. Here, they keep going until they understand something. Now I'm going to summarize what the Chela on the thread is. The Chela on the thread has succeeded in decentralizing themselves and are no longer the point of dramatic interest on their own little stage. They're no longer preoccupied with their feeling nature and can control their thoughts. They are a long ways from being a group 6 materialist or coordinated personality who is highly egotistical in the way we understand that at the time this video was done, very selfish, very narcissistic, could even be a malignant narcissist, etc. The Chela on the thread is a long ways away from being that. They work within personality, no matter how the personal nature may be reacting. So they're still human. They feel certain things inside. Let's say somebody insults them. They may feel that inside, but they no longer react to it. They're able to know who they are as soul. They're able to have that inner sense of detachment, that broader understanding of synthesis in the plan, and so they're non-reactive in that way in terms of their outer expression. His or her own feelings, thoughts, likes, dislikes are no longer the controlling factor. That's part of Raja Yoga in the Yoga Sutras, which is studied and practiced a great deal by the time we are a Group 9 initiate. And so you're really engaging in that practice as a Chela on the thread and seeing the results of it. They're always working for the good of the group. They also know how to not sacrifice any individual to the group good until after due effort has been made to help that individual to come into right relationship with the group. That's so important because so many groups, esoteric or not esoteric, will have a conflict with somebody and will seek to eject them without first talking to that person, trying to understand that person's point of view and perspective. Why did that person act in the way that they acted? How did they reach certain conclusions and thoughts? So if a group is not attempting to talk to an individual and instead is just demonizing that individual, then that is not a group of people who are Chelas on the thread. They're a long ways from being Group 9 initiates. Now, it could be that after a conversation has been made and a dialogue has been engaged in, that person is ejected. But you don't tell that person to eject themselves. You don't let that person go without a thorough kind of conversation about things. That is all a sign that we are not yet a Chela on the thread. They have a sense of proportion as to their contribution. They're no longer concerned with contact with a master or one's standing, which is kind of a paradox because we're spending all this time trying to understand where are we on the path. And so that is valuable to help us know how do we need to continue to improve ourselves and correct ourselves. But it's not something that we're busy telling other people this is where we think we are. Now, maybe if you're in an esoteric psychology group and you're working at this, maybe you will discuss amongst yourselves where you think you're at and where you think you need to improve, but you're not busy boasting or bragging about it. Now, this summary on this slide was taken from Discipleship in the New Age, Volume 1, page 744. We are also told that this Chela is 1. Simultaneously focused on 2 states of awareness, which includes a point of spiritual tension and activity in the 3 worlds. So they're learning to be of the world, activity in the 3 worlds, but not of it in their meditations and in their increasing realization of who they are, not only as the soul, but at this stage as the triad. And they must be able to answer yes to all the questions below. And this is a quote. 1. Do you in reality know your life task? Are you carrying it out and effectively? If you are still building character and purity, doesn't this mean you are on the path of probation and not discipleship? 4. Are you preoccupied with human need, or are you engrossed with your own position as a disciple, with your own spiritual problems, and with the delusion of the terrific difficulties in your personal life. And these quotes are from Discipleship in the New Age, Volume 1, page 747. And as you see, I overlap the chela on the thread with the pledged disciple, that's group 8, who's still on the path of discipleship, who's finishing it off and transitioning into the probationary initiate, starting the process of becoming a group 9 initiate here. And so if you're still involved with character impurity, the path of probation is group 7 and not group 8, who's on the path of discipleship, and the chela on the thread is transitioning us from group 8 into group 9 here. But looking at the questions, if you don't know your life task and you're not carrying it out effectively, and you're not at least the leader of a group and doing all the tasks that we've talked about in group 8, and just your everyday is how can I help humanity, and you're still wondering where am I on the path, etc., or your own spiritual problems and the difficulties of your own spiritual life, then you're not yet a chela on the thread. Next, we have the chela within the aura. And I've associated this with a group 9 initiated disciple, who I also think at this stage we're talking about a 3rd degree initiate. Group 9 initiates cover both 3rd and 4th degree initiates. Want to see the full video? There is much more to see. Watch it on our Patreon channel. Join our Soul to Spirit community and access teachings and training. Nearly 300 videos on spiritual topics are available. Some of our video categories are featured here. Communicate with others on a spiritual journey. Note, chat, comments, and photo are hidden to protect member confidentiality in this video. Receive ebooks and charts that explain how to evolve spiritually. Completed books are above. The books below are in the process of being finished. Get inspirational merchandise, original artwork, and more. Join for free or subscribe. You can join us at www.patreon.com/soul2spirit. And if you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe, like, comment, share, hit the bell for alerts, and thanks for watching.